Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by Vaughn Lane. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where I'm joined every morning by Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. Tell us where you're checking in from this morning, what you're drinking, get your questions in. We'll get to those here in just a little bit. Also want to add, before we get into anything, we've had a lot of questions about the website being down. It was down temporarily this morning, but it is back up, so you can head back over to ontexasfootball.com, get in on the discussion, join the community, and talk about whatever may float your boat. So, with that said,
bring something up.
Go ahead.
Rocky Pour. Hold on. I need to bring this up. Where's his comment? That's a nice hat, Jerry. Yes, thank you, Rocky Pour. This is a specially made High Time Corn Dog Company High OG hat by Bourbon Leather Company. Bourbon Leather Company. If you want to get your hats there, Bourbon Leather Company. Thank you very much for that hat. I love it. Wore it the first day. I got it yesterday, wearing it today.
Good stuff. All right, guys. Well, we've talked about the portal all week. That's not going to change this morning. What's the latest?
Jerry uncovered something yesterday. Bo Barnes, the linebacker that went into the portal yesterday, has been talking to Texas about a potential return. We will see where that ends, but Will Muschamp dealing with that. Texas also hosting a couple of official visitors yesterday. Raleek Brown, the running back out of Arizona State, headlines that group. A young man rushed for more than 1,000 yards last year for the Sun Devils. He's in today as well. That visit will end later today. We'll see what he decides to do afterwards. Texas is thought to be the leader here, but I put that with a caveat. Thought to be the leader and portal are not two things that go together real well, is what we're finding out. And so put that one aside, but we do think that there's some momentum for Texas there. Also in Austin yesterday, Dante Simpson, the defensive lineman out of the University of Miami, by way of Chaminade Madonna High School. He was on campus, as was Zion Williams, defensive lineman at LSU by way of Lufkin, Texas. He was on campus. There will be more expected on campus today, some whose names I don't know yet, but I'm told there are going to be multiple official visitors. One of them is expected to be Cal linebacker Cade Uluave, a all ACC linebacker, had 97 tackles this season. Entered the portal, he did, with a non-contact tag. So that's a lot of what's going on. Cam Coleman is at Texas Tech today. He started yesterday and today. Supposed to visit Alabama later. That's the big wide receiver out of Auburn. That is the number one player in the portal at this point. And then also we're waiting on a decision from Christian Alliegro, the linebacker out of Wisconsin that visited Texas earlier this week. He's choosing between Texas and Ohio State at this time. Jerry,
yeah, I want
to do that.
Yeah, I want to on Bo Barnes. Him and his family had a discussion with Will Muschamp last night. I think there's a report that didn't happen. They talked with Will Muschamp last night, so I expect a final decision here mid-morning. Could even come during the show. We'll see. But I do think Bo wants to be at Texas, and this is not a straight up NIL deal. I promise you guys that.
And Jay Lee, while we're on the subject, says, Barnes, Jerry, have we already got some stud linebackers from the portal? I could see it, but right now there's no positive way to spin the barn things, right?
Yeah, so I think here's one thing that I think is Muschamp is talking to some of these kids now for the first time. Because you got to remember, he came in for 2 days to observe. He was at one bowl practice. Then they went straight to portal right right after the bowl game, goes straight into portal. So he hasn't had a chance to truly sit down and have conversations with some of these guys. He had that conversation with Bo Barnes and his family last night. And so I think you'll see a lot more of that with defensive players moving forward, because Will Muschamp runs the defense. It's his decision on personnel, who's going to stay, who's going to be in this program.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Bobby, we got a lot to talk about this morning, so I'm going to go ahead and let you tell everyone about Vaughn Lane.
I could do that. Our friends over at Vaughn Lane. The holidays are behind us, so it's back to business, meetings, conferences, and packed travel calendars. If you're still flying short routes or driving hours between cities, there is a better way, and that's Vaughn Lane. Vaughn Lane delivers a first-class travel experience on the ground. You board just in minutes at a private hotel terminal. And when I say you board in just minutes, I mean you literally just walk onto the bus. There's no crowds, no jamming people around you and all this other stuff. It's simple. It's easy. They offer select snacks, beverages, even towel service, complimentary Wi-Fi. Right now, they're even adding or rolling out Starlink internet across the entire fleet, making complimentary Wi-Fi even faster and more reliable, perfect for staying connected on the way to meetings and conferences. Vaughn Lane serves Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Plano, the Woodlands, Nashville, Memphis, Atlanta, and Knoxville. If you're traveling with a team, you could even charter your own Vaughn Lane, designing the trip from pickup to drop-off. Visit vaughnlane.com, and if it's your first time riding, enter OTF26 at checkout to receive $20 off your first trip. Vaughn Lane, your private jet on wheels. And when the portal is over, I'm thinking about taking the entire On Texas football team to, I don't know, we may do a bus trip to Marfa or somewhere out in West Texas just to decompress. That's maybe what we need to use Vaughn Lane for, to special charter one of those buses.
I want to say something.
Wait. No comment about Marfa, guys.
I was laughing. You can pick me up along the way.
Come on, Jerry. No comment. We're all gonna go out to Marfa and see the lights at night and decompress and kumbaya.
Yeah.
Jerry's like, no, I want to talk recruiting right now.
No. I just want to respond because I think there's something that's being missed. Kenny Joe for the podcast, Jerry, I love you, but the idea much hasn't had time to visit with a player's BS. That's not because the kids are not on campus. They've been gone. They're home. Arch is golfing in Cabo. These guys are not in Austin right now. They don't get back into Austin until the semester begins. And right after that bowl game, the portal window opened. And what did they have? They had portal visitors right out of the gate. So the kids aren't in Austin.
And he's been on the road, by the way. Yeah, he was up at seeing Jaden Wood. So I think that, guys, this is when you turn over a coaching staff like that, there's things that fall through the cracks. It is. And I will say this. We'll see what Bo Barnes decides. We'll see what Texas decides with that. I mean, it takes two to tango in that relationship. I mean, it's not like things are going to fundamentally change other than who is the one talking to him on a daily basis. So we'll see where it goes. I think there is some hope, but there's no promises on either side there.
Yeah.
All right, Bobby, you had something that you wanted to bring up, and I'm going to bring that up and let you tell everyone about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's talk about this. Texas has 6 commitments, right, in the transfer portal. Notre Dame right now, 0. So people saying that, Texas is getting this or that or whatever, you could be a Notre Dame fan right now. I just want to put that out there for folks. You look at this stuff and realize that some of this is different than it was just a week ago. Did Allegro officially go to OSU?
Yes.
People saying?
Or Pete Thamel. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's a big pickup for Ohio State. Tough loss for the University of Texas.
My thought on that was once Matt Patricia signs his 3-year deal extension with Ohio State, he was going to go to Ohio State.
Yep.
But on the Notre Dame thing, I happen to be close with somebody who's being recruited to Notre Dame right now in another sport. And one of the things there is there's a lot of college people taking online classes. They don't really go to class. It's not the case at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
That's not the case at Notre Dame. You have to go to class every day there, which I think is interesting. That may end up hurting them a little bit.
Allegro was one of the Texas top linebackers on the board.
Yeah,
One of the two, Cade Uliava. So I think this is a significant loss for Texas.
I do too.
And I think that, look, I said this earlier and wrote it on ontexasfootball.com this morning. Part of this is everybody's money is the same color, guys. And Texas was above Ohio State on their offer to Allegro. So this is the guy that once numbers become so large, I think that's going to happen potentially with Cam Coleman in Texas Tech. I got to take a call real quick, guys.
All right.
Yeah. So look, to that point, I mean, there was a prospect in the last few days that picked another school over Texas, and Texas had more than $500,000 more on the table in NIL.
Yeah.
So just something to note there. All right. What is Tetapare?
Well, we got morning Alpio. We got a lot of super chats. Of course, there's also some college football being played tonight as well, Bobby or Jerry, excuse me.
Bring that up. Yeah.
I'm trying to find the line on that real quick. Of course, that game is tonight at 6:30, I believe, but give me just a second here. And I will, well, God, I say I will. Got the FPI analytics, Miami with a 57.1% chance to win, Jerry. Who you taking in that? Well, I find the line.
Yeah, it's I like Miami. I think do we know who actually is coaching for Ole Miss in this game? I mean,
No.
isn't that the big thing? Look,
Yeah.
I think Miami's defensive line. I think their offensive line. I think Miami's gonna be able to slow down Ole Miss's run game enough. I like, even though it's hard for me to go there with Carson Beck. Miami is playing at a very high level. And what they're doing is they're able to, right now, Carson Beck isn't having to go win them the football game. They're winning the game with the defense and the offensive line and the run game and controlling the game. So I do like that. Game's in Arizona. I like Miami to win the game tonight.
Interesting that 55% of the bets are placed on Ole Miss. However.
Yeah. I look, Trinidad Chambliss is a better college quarterback than Carson Beck. If it comes down to a quarterback to win the game, I like Chambliss. If it comes down to Miami's defensive line, their offensive line, their ability to control the game, I like Miami.
I think Jerry's right about that. I would add this. If Ole Miss gets on top early, there's a real possibility Carson Beck feels the heat and becomes a turnover machine.
Yeah.
If Miami gets on top early, then they can sit on the ball, run it, and play defense. Yeah. The key to this game, I really believe this, will be the first quarter. If either team, like if Miami just needs a 1-score lead, like 7-0, and then they can play Miami's brand of ball. If for whatever reason Ole Miss gets up 2 scores, like 10-0 early, and Miami's offense starts feeling the pressure to start throwing the football, Miami's in trouble. But the key will be getting up on top of Miami early. I think Ole Miss can do that because of how they finished against Georgia, very hot on offense. If they can do that, I see Ole Miss ending up in the national championship, unless the Miami defense is just too much, and that could be possible.
I think a big thing in the game within the game is Miami's pass rush against Marcel Reed. While he's an athletic guy, he's 178 pounds. He ain't breaking anybody's tackles at Miami. The good thing for Ole Miss, I don't think their offensive lines run their mouth this week. So that is a good thing. The other thing is Julian saying Miami could really affect him with pressure because he's a pocket quarterback and he can't move. I think Trinidad Chambliss, if his escapability carries over to the Miami defensive line athletes, then I think that's a really good sign for Ole Miss because they've been able to affect the last 2 quarterbacks they've played. Can they affect Trinidad Chambliss with his movement as a quarterback, and he's a stronger, more stockier guy. I mean, Marcel Reed's an easy guy to get to the ground once you get your hand on him. Julian Sand's not going to be shifty and make moves and really beat your pass rush. He's a pocket passer. Trinidad Chambliss, if he can move and keep plays alive with his running back build and his ability to play quarterback, I think that's big against the Miami pass rush.
Before we get to some super chats, Bobby, we've had a lot of people ask about Jordan Shipley and wanted to know if you had any kind of update.
Yes, absolutely. Can you show that picture, man?
Oh gosh, yeah. I'm so sorry. Give me 2 seconds. That's my fault.
Yeah, this is so I talked to Bob for about 15, 30 minutes last night. And they are all the family staying in Austin with Jordan during this scenario. For those unaware, Jordan suffered 3rd-degree burns to about 20% of his body on Tuesday, was rushed and care flighted to Del Seaton there in Austin. Jordan, of course, the former Longhorn wide receiver. The update is this. Jordan has an unbelievable story to tell when he's ready to tell it. He was able to speak for the first time. They took out the intubation tube yesterday, so he's able to speak and tell his family exactly what happened. I don't think all of it is out there yet, and I'm going to let them do that at their own time. But he fought through. I'll give you an example. I mean, after he was burned, he had to get 1.5 miles to his truck. He fought through all of that and was able to get. I mean, it's just phenomenal. There he is, giving the Hook'em sign yesterday. Just an incredible act of perseverance. He is lucky to be alive. He is fortunate to be alive. There's no two ways about that. Bob is a very religious person, I think is a fair way to say it, and convinced that God played a hand in this in a positive way. So with all of that being said, he is now on the way to recovery, they believe. He is still in difficult condition. He's undergoing skin grafts and things like that right now. And when you get burned this much, there are going to be more procedures after procedures, et cetera, that take weeks to get through. I mean, he may be in the hospital for at least another 3 weeks. But to say that he fought, or Jordan fought for his life and for that of his family's future would be the understatement of the year. Bob was so grateful that Jordan made it out. And now has another fighting chance to do something. He's even started, by the way, Bob shared this story. He said that the guy, what do you call those people? The people come in the aftercare, the rehab folks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They came in yesterday and said, look, you're not ready for it yet, but when you are, this is the team that will be helping you introduce, and Jordan immediately said, what can I do now? Can I start now? Even though he's still in a lot of agony and a lot of pain, he's got a can-do attitude and trying to get through it.
Thank you for that update, Bobby. Like I said, we had a lot of people asking this morning, so just wanted to address that. Bob
wanted to say one other thing. He said it's been unbelievable, the outpouring of support that he and his family have received. There have been people that come by and see him, and Colt McCoy obviously been talking to him, and Coach Brown had called, and all these people have talked to him. They are staying in Austin at a friend's place that opened up their house to him for the whole family. So there's been a lot of people supporting them in a way, and others just doing it through prayer or thoughts and, trying to uplift them. And he just is very, very appreciative of it all.
Okay, guys, let's jump over to some super chats. So we got a lot of them rolling in this morning. And another one from Jay Lee. Thank you again, Jay. He says, any chance we look at OU linebacker Sammy O? Jay says he's a good player.
Texas needs 2 out of the portal, and Allegro he was top of the board. He just went to Ohio State. So there will be somebody else, a couple other guys pop up. Kelu Oluwave, who is number 2 on the board. Those are the top 2 guys. He is scheduled to be in this weekend. So it's not a name we've heard, but it's a name that could.
Are you hearing this weekend for Uliavo? Because I was told today.
Today, tomorrow. So it's 2-day visit. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Then we got a few super chat comments this morning. Going to group those together here. This first one from Longhorn Living says, "Good morning, OTF. Ready for whatever the portal brings today. Time to show some Texas fight." Thank you for your super chat.
Definitely.
And then Buddy Pal Chief Big Guy says, "God has granted me another day, and I plan on making it everyone else's problem." And then Trace says, "Hat tip to this morning's OTF article by Bobby and naturally Adam Smith. This isn't chaos. It's economics 101. Follow the incentives."
It really is. And I wrote that particular for Jerry and Blake that may not have read this, and everybody else out there. What I said was this: the depth pieces on a roster like Texas is now flattening out, and they're choosing to go receive more pay from other places that may need it more or may need them more. And so that is just market economics 101. You'd like to keep all these depth pieces. You're not necessarily going to be able to. And that's just the reality of it. So, and I'm not saying that necessarily about Bo Barnes, by the way, but Jordan Washington, Nate Kibble, Daniel Cruz, those guys were backups at Texas. Jordan Washington obviously was playing a lot, but my point is, if they could go get 1 or 2 money somewhere else that has that money, some of those guys are going to make that decision to go. And so I think it's just market economics playing out at some level. Obviously, it doesn't make you feel any better when you lose a player the caliber of a Bo Barnes that has such upside potentially. But in the realm of it, Bo Barnes may not be more. His best shot next year may be as a second string linebacker at Texas with an outside look at being third team. So where could he go get a better situation for himself? Some of that's just going to happen.
Sorry, there was a very loud explosion.
I want to say this. I want to say this about Alliegro. By the way, Texas did offer more money. Even this is something that people need to realize. Within the Big Ten, there is $150,000 buyout if you go to another Big Ten school. So Alliegro also chose to do that. So the reality of it is he really wanted to go and stay in the Big Ten. So you can say what you want, but it's what happened.
More super chats this morning. Let's see here. We have one from Brandon Walker. Thank you, Brandon. It's no secret that the staff needs a big win in the portal from a negotiation standpoint. Are agents using that against us?
Not yet. Not that the idea of a big win, not quite yet. I do think that Texas has been used as a stalking horse in many of these negotiations. And what do I mean by that? Go visit Texas and see what they might offer, and then come back to us if you're Michigan or Florida, and we'll either try to match it or get closer. The problem is, for example, one of the Michigan offensive linemen was offered almost double by Texas, and he decided to return. And that is, frankly, that's just, you're not going to beat that. And so a lot of these guys have some loyalty to their teams. They're in a starting role. They're comfortable with what they're going to be and play next year. And I want to say this for a guy like Alliegro, if it's a couple $100,000, what's that if he's a second or third round pick next year? It's not much. And so you can be over the top and still not, affect the decision. And I think that's a little bit of what folks are running into right now. Kids are not looking at it necessarily as a one-year play. How does this set me up for the draft, et cetera? Am I already starting? There's other considerations.
Jerry, I need you to go get your lampshade.
I changed up the game. I've got it right there.
Look at that, man. This guy is ready to rock. He's Zach Harvey. Good morning from Little Rock, Arkansas. Bobby, your hat game is top shelf. Not worried about the portal. We will be fine. Coleman committing would not guarantee a national championship. So if it happens, it happens. Hook 'em.
Nothing guarantees a national championship in this world. I mean, Jerry's talked about penalties being a problem. I can tell you the bounce of the ball is a bigger problem, in my opinion. I mean, one fumble and the whole season changes, right? You know, it is what it is. I will say this. Attracting talent, though, makes you harder to beat, man. And it's one of those things. You can out-talent people in this game at times, and it lessens your margin, or it widens your margin for error.
Yeah.
And so are there going to be games where it didn't happen this year, but where Texas lost the turnover battle 3-0 and still won the game? That's
we got some breaking news. I think we got some breaking news.
Yeah, hold on, double checking. Go ahead for 1 second.
Go ahead, Bob.
Let's
Is
see.
What do you mean? I'm like waiting myself.
All right, hang on. I got to share my screen. Give me just a second.
Filling here.
This coming in from Pete Thamel. I'm so sorry, Zach. I got to get your super chat out of the way.
This was expected.
Yeah.
Big time. Boom. There we go. Raleek Brown is a Texas Longhorn. First team tailback for the Big 12. Rushed for 1,141 yards last year, averaging 6.1 yards per carry. Began his career at USC. He's a Southern California native, Jerry. He is running back in the room now. You've seen Raleek Brown since he was a high school player, Jerry. Then you watched him at USC and Arizona State. What do you think the Longhorns are getting here? Yeah,
so he is. So there's I think about guys who are 5'8", 190, 195 pounds, no different than Isaac Brown at Louisville. I think Isaac Brown's a better player. There's 3 Ys you have to have. You have to be shifty, nifty, and have some explosivity. Those are my 3 Ys for an undersized back. Raleek Brown has those qualities. He is definitely shifty. He's got nifty feet, and he has explosivity. So is he an every down back in the SEC for Texas? No. He is a really good running back that is going to be really good in Sark's system, especially as a wide receiver. I think this is the big thing. The wide receiver out of the backfield, the receiver out of the backfield, I should say, I think is going to be huge for him, huge for the Texas offense. He started his career. He's from Stockton, California. He finished up high school at Mater Dei. Then he went to USC. He had a couple injury issues there. Took a little bit longer to get going in high major college football. Transfers to Arizona State. Had an injury issue there, but he's healthy. He was healthy last year. Had a huge season for Arizona State, 1,150-ish yards rushing, I think 1,141, about 240 receiving. He's also had some big kick returns early in his career at USC. But I think the main thing for me is he's got make you miss ability, and then he is really good out of the backfield. And he has now had a lot of experience as a running back in major college football. And why I think that is important is young running backs, Derek Cooper, whenever those kids come in, man, they're used to those holes not pinching and closing as fast. They're not accustomed to making multiple people miss while having to keep your eyes up to see where the next guy's coming from. I think Raleek Brown has a ton of experience in that. I think he's going to be a big player for Texas. And I actually think this is a huge pickup for Texas, as much as a runner as a pass catching threat out of the backfield.
Great stuff, Jerry and Blake. I think this is huge for Texas. I really do, because it gets them one step closer. The portal is a game. It's showing to be a game of numbers over time at high quality players. I mean, this is a first team all Big 12 selection. This isn't, you're not shopping at Ross Dress for Less. You're shopping at Neiman Marcus. So I think it's a big pickup. That now brings 4 position players into the fold for Texas, all at positions of need. We mentioned Michael Masunis, the tight end, inline blocker from Michigan State, Ian Gifford, the over-the-ball defender from Arkansas, and Bo Moscow, the cornerback at Rutgers. This now brings Texas a running back that is considered one of the best in the portal as well. We'll see what Texas now does next at running back. And I do believe they're going to go for a second running back in this portal class.
So, people, some questions. Nathaniel Loper, good scheme fit, Jerry. Trace Ravy. How fast is he, Jerry? I think Raleek would run in the low 4.4s, mid 4.4s at an NFL combine. Scheme fit wise, I think he's tremendous out of the backfield. I think he is a tremendous. I think he, in a different way, I think he can provide what Jaden Blue did out of the backfield for Texas. Now, he's not going to run quite as fast. He may not be quite as explosive, but I'll say this about him too. I think he's actually a better natural running back than Jaden Blue. I think Jaden Blue's exceptional out of the backfield. I think Raleek Brown is a pretty good running back, but I think out of the backfield, the combination of what he can do is going to be big for Texas. And I think Texas still needs one more running back, a bigger back.
Definitely. I think that so Jerry, I don't think there's any doubt about that. Like, I think Texas needs a between the tackles runner. And that doesn't mean Raleek Brown can't run between the tackles, just like doesn't mean Trey Wisner couldn't run between the tackles. It just means his superpower or his X-Man ability is in space. And so I think Texas needs a running back next that it has that X-Man ability between the tackles. That's what needs to happen next. And we'll see what they're able to do and who they're able to find. I am hearing, and this isn't necessarily at running back, but a little bit other news. There are expected to be more portal entrants today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, and that's from around the country. Some of them will be possible. Texas might be interested in them and vice versa. But we are waiting to see that happen. I will say that my new mantra on entering the portal is wait for it to happen before you think it's going to happen, based on everything that's gone on the last week or so. But that is the thought process right now.
All right. Let's tell you what, before we get to some more super chats and more portal talk and all that good stuff, Jerry, I'm going to let you tell everyone how to look nice and clean shaven with Harry's.
Yeah, don't look at me, but get your Harry's razor. That's what I'd tell you. That's what I would tell you about Harry's. I'm grabbing this nice Harry's razor right here. Look, does your old razor dull too fast, irritate your neck? There is nothing worse than that. It ruins your day, especially if you have to wear a collar, if you're wearing a suit in the workplace, jacket. Did they cost way too much too? $30 for refills total. Scamola. Harry's owns, this is what you need to know about Harry's. Harry's owns their own world-class blade factory in Germany. No outsourcing, no middleman. The same facility has been perfecting blade making for over 100 years because they control the entire process from steel to shelf. They keep costs low. Why pay $30 again for refills when Harry's gives you better blades for a fraction of that? Harry's has launched their most advanced razor ever, and it's still cheaper than the Gillette Fusion 5. If you don't love your shave, Harry's will make it right. No questions asked. Risk-free trial means there's zero downside to giving it a shot. Harry's Plus is Harry's heaviest razor handle ever, made from metal, never plastic, and it feels great in your hand, designed to fit comfortably in your hand as well. And that heavier handle means more control and a luxurious feel. That is true. For a limited time, our listeners can get to Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/ontexas, all caps. That set includes all new Harry's Plus razor, one refined 5-blade cartridge, a 2-ounce foaming gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. Just head to harrys.com/ontexas, all caps to claim this offer. And after you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about him. You tell them OTF, where sometimes we're clean shaven, sometimes we're not, but we love Harry's.
And I'm going to tell everyone this morning about our friends at Prize Picks, because we make decisions daily. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. And it's simple. You just pick more or less on player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in, win up to 2,000 times your money. And it's the best way to get in on the sports action in more than 40 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and right here in the great state of Texas. And the college football playoff semifinals are here, and I'm taking Oregon wide receiver Corian Moore to have more than 29.5 receiving yards, Oregon quarterback Dante Moore to have at least a passing touchdown, and Miami running back Mark Fletcher to have more than 69.5 rushing yards. Of course, they got more than college football. They got college basketball, NBA, NHL, NFL, whatever it may be. They even have tennis, esports. You can find you something. Go make your own picks in less than 60 seconds. Turn your sports opinions into real money. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code ONTEXAS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code ONTEXAS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And that's Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Okay, let's see here. Let's take this one from Billy Boy Hookem. Has the big game hunting put us in a position where we will have to overpay for plan B options?
No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. I think that they're still, by the way, they think they're still big game hunting at this point. I mean, Raleek Brown is a first-team all-conference running back. So keep that in mind as we talk about this kind of stuff. I think that Cam Coleman remains out there. We need to talk a little bit about Coleman. He visited Texas Tech yesterday, continuing that visit today, expected to visit Texas Tech later in the week. Obviously, he's a big name. Linebacker Cade Uliavu is a first-team all-conference performer in the ACC. He's expected in today, tomorrow. You also have a number of other guys. Trey Richardson, Vanderbilt's leading receiver. Look, Trey Richardson, by the way, is somebody else we need to talk about. He is not, and I want to say this because a lot of people think he's in place of Cam Coleman. That is not the case. They want a potential inside slot that can take the top off the defense. Trey Richardson, I think, averaged, 17.5 yards per catch for Vanderbilt this season. His last 4 games, he had one game of 75 yards, but he had a game against Kentucky where he went for $150 plus and 3 TDs. So he came on a lot at the end of the season, his last 4 games. So they're in for a lot of guys right now. We'll see if more guys go into the portal as is expected. Still waiting to hear more on an offensive line possibility that may or may not be on campus this week.
The next super chat this morning comes from Jeff Carey. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you as always. Would it be a good idea to pull out of the race for Coleman and use that extra money for O-line, running back, and linebackers?
No. I mean, again, it's not money that's the problem here for Texas. That's what people don't seem to realize. Texas is they're out in front on money on just about all of these guys. But if a guy wants to go back to Michigan, there's no amount of money that you can give him. I mean, Texas was more than $500,000 above on a Michigan player. So it's not about money. These guys, once you get to a certain level, it's like, what's the difference between for you or me? What's the difference between $20 and $30 or $20 and $25? That's a little bit. But is it going to necessarily change our decision-making process? No. Some of these guys are the same way. If it's in the range, they don't really, it doesn't affect their livelihood or their station in life, in their opinion. And so it's not strictly about money. It's about fit, about familiarity, about confidence in that you have a position open that you're going to play, all of those things. And in many instances, you're fighting a situation where they have more familiarity with others. And that's what's been the case largely with Texas. I mean, Ali Agro, for example, is very familiar with the Big Ten, played against Ohio State this year, knows what they do. You know, when Ohio State, Matt Patricia shows him linebacker tape, he's showing him linebacker tape of Ohio State from this year. When Will Muschamp shows Ali Agro linebacker tape, he's showing it of Georgia in the recruiting process and how he wants them to play. There's a lot of factors here that go into this, not just money. In Texas, people say, well, they're not all in. Yeah, they are. So doesn't mean they're going to get everybody they want just because they're all in. Tried to explain that.
Hebrew Hammer 93. Any chance we enter the fray for Chaz Coleman?
Haven't heard that one. Wendell Gregory's scheduled to be in unless that changes from Oklahoma State, who's originally signed with South Carolina, originally from Marietta Walton in the Atlanta area. He is kind of next man up in that regard.
Yep, he's a defense. To Jerry's point, Chaz Coleman's the defensive end from Penn State.
Yeah,
that everybody and their brothers trying to get Ohio State, LSU, etc. Texas chose to go after Jaden Woods in that elite category, and of course, he went back to Florida. Wendell Gregory, a rush edge out of Oklahoma State that Jerry's talking about. Good player.
And then we have a super chat from Traveling Tyler. He wants to know, is there smoke of Sarkisian to the Falcons? Tyler says he's seen it going around.
I will say this. I don't think that's the case. And Sark did not have a great run with the Falcons either. Like that's not, I don't see that being an issue. So.
And then another regarding Sark and staff. This one from Jason Hablinski says, Jerry and Bobby, to your point, if we're offering more money and losing out, then Sark and co need to take a serious look at the recruiting pitch that goes along with the offer.
Absolutely. And I think they will and have, and it's an ongoing process, but they've been doing this for five years. In Sark's case, he's been doing it for 30 years. I think that part of it is, I think part of it is familiarity with a part of the, like, where are the Texas players, native Texas players in this group? They brought in the linebackers from Connecticut. Okay. He's going to be more familiar with the Big Ten, right? Jaden Woods has been a year he's from Kansas. So he's at least had some familiarity. And I think Texas got close on that. But the two Michigan linemen, I mean, you get the Arizona State guy that's from Southern California. I think part of it is, there's just familiarity there, and you can't overcome that in a recruiting pitch unless there's something else about it. And, we'll see.
To reset, there's a lot of people coming in, joining the show right now. Christian Allegra did sign with Ohio State this morning.
Yeah.
Yes. And Raleek Brown has committed to Texas.
Yeah. Yep. And there's two D-line, also reset. There's two D-line prospects. Doesn't mean both get NIL offers from Texas. Zion Williams got on campus around 5 yesterday. That's the LSU nose guard transfer, originally from Lufkin High. Saw him a lot in high school. He'd be a developmental nose, but Texas needs depth at that true nose position when Muschamp's in a three-man front. Ian Giffard was their number one guy. They're very high on Josiah Sharma, but they need a third there that is a true nose guard, over-the-ball player when they're in a three-man front, somebody they can develop. And then Donta Simpson out of Miami, out of Chaminade Madonna High School, our favorite out-of-state high school in the OTF chat. He's on campus. He may also visit Illinois, SMU, and maybe one other, Kentucky possibly, and maybe. I think some of those schools are changing with him right now the longer he's been in the portal. A guy that the SEC schools that are recruiting him, I've asked a couple, they believe he can play the run in the SEC, which is major in their interest in him. But he can also be a disruptive guy down the line as he develops technique-wise, 6'3", 300 pounds, played some snaps at Miami early in the season, preserved his red shirt, but went in the portal. So we'll see what happens with that one. He does have 3 visits scheduled after Texas.
Okay, we got a ton more super chats this morning, so let's jump right back into those. Foster, what other programs are in on the linebacker from Cal, if you're able to say?
He entered with a non-contact tag, which typically means they know where they want to go, and he's visiting Texas.
I think your biggest competition there is Tosh Lupoy at Cal.
Oh, going back to Cal again? They're going to go back.
Tosh Lupoy is not one to give up on talented players. Anybody that's followed his recruitment, he doesn't give up. I'm not saying he's going back, but I'm just saying.
I always thought it might be Utah or BYU. He's from Utah.
He's from Harriman. Yeah.
We haven't heard any other schools at this time.
Yeah, we haven't heard other visits yet for him.
Okay, and then we have Brian Green here. He says if Texas is trying to build an NFL style roster structure, then why are they trusting someone like Brandon Harris, who has 0 NFL front office backgrounds? And then before you answer that, Bobby, I got one more that goes with that. DJ Alexander, he wants to know, do you think Brandon Harris is at fault for the portal departures?
No, I think market economics are at fault for portal departures. And that goes even for Leonga Lafau. But all of these depth pieces that you're losing, I think that's the way college football is headed, guys. You saw, we showed it earlier, Notre Dame's lost 15 and gained none. I mean, that's this new world economics. By the way, Texas is not trying to build a quote-unquote NFL-style roster structure, nor should they. College football is not pro football in the same, or NFL, I should say. It could be considered pro football these days. But my point is, you don't want specifically just an NFL-style roster structure. What you want is a college football style roster structure. Brandon Harris is doing a good job. Texas has a top 5 roster right now in college football. You can't blame that on the general manager. You can applaud that. Now, is Brandon Harris perfect? No. Is Jim Nagy perfect? No. Are any of these guys? I mean, look, James Blanchard at Texas Tech gets all these plaudits and stuff. His offense just scored 0 points, with, more money than anybody to spend. So nobody is perfect in this day and age. That's my opinion. And so Brandon Harris has faults, but we all do. I look at the end results, and I will tell you the end results is Texas has a top 5 roster right now. Brandon Harris has been integral in that approach. Is he perfect? No. So everybody wants perfection, just doesn't work that way. And I would push back on the idea that Texas is seeking a quote unquote NFL style roster structure. It's not quite the same. There are nuances there. Free agency every year is one of those. That's a big difference.
Let's see. Okay.
And I always say this about any school, any coach, anybody wants fired. I always say this. The head coach makes decisions. At the end of the day, all this stuff that anybody wants to talk about, the head coaches make decisions.
More super chats. Sports Talk Jay. Mylan Graham visits Notre Dame and a SEC school, Texas.
I don't know that. Mylan Graham's a backup wide receiver at Ohio State that has a lot of juice.
A lot.
He would be a guy similar to a Silas Bolden, in my opinion. That kind of size, maybe even a little quicker than Silas Bolden, if you can imagine that. A little bit more jets. But I don't know of any visit to Texas lined up. Is it possible? Yes. For some reason, I thought somebody said something about LSU there, but I couldn't tell you that for sure, Sports Talk Jay.
And we got multiple people who are putting in super chats, but nothing's attached to them. Harris Howard, 3-puck baller, and Harris Howard again. The chat's moving very quickly, but if you'll just put that in the chat normal, I will attempt to look for it and see if I can get that up on the screen for you. And then our next super chat comes from Tyler. He says, surely this is not how any of you envision the portal going. Are we not paying top dollar, or do these kids truly not want to come?
So we've established Texas is paying top dollar. I mean, I'm just going to go ask those players where the things were at. So that take that off. I think that the part of the issue is some guys went into the portal without really thinking that they wanted to leave their place. So a lot of times it's not unlike Bo Barnes. I don't think Bo Barnes is disappointed with Texas. He just wanted more commitment, more money, more whatever.
Okay? To know where he stands in the competition.
Yeah, exactly. That's one thing. The problem that you have right now is that more teams, like if Jerry just mentioned Cade Uluave, well, he may not want to leave Cal, but he went into the portal. So you think you take them at their word that they go into the portal, they want to go somewhere else. Well, the two Michigan guys obviously weren't all in about leaving Michigan. So money isn't the major factor there. And I think that's where some of these things come out. And you have Christian Allegro, who frankly, stays in an area of the country that he's more familiar with. It's not money. It could be, are you identifying targets that truly want to move? That we could discuss that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of
how do you pre-qualify that before they enter the portal? I mean, it's impossible because all you can communicate with is an agent who is going to tell you what you want to hear. So how does a team pre-qualify that? I don't know.
I think what is this stuff's ever changing. I think this stuff's ever changing, and I would say this: one thing Texas has done, what I think is different in high school than portal, they've gone after a lot of guys that were going through coaching changes, and with those coaching changes, like if there's a coaching change in high school recruiting and signing day is December 3rd, that new coach doesn't have a great opportunity to retain some of those kids. The difference in the portal to me, and I think this stuff's ever changing. And you're seeing more fights put up in the portal. What you're also going to see in the portal moving forward is that some of these schools with rev share can now compete. And that's not necessarily coming into play on the guys right now. But I will say this: Michigan guys went back and met with Kyle Whittingham, Jaden Woods, John Summerall and his staff, new staff flew out to see him. There's some of that in the portal, and some universities, Texas being one of them, others are going to have to revisit that a little bit and have a different strategy about that. I think from a timing perspective of how hard you go after some guys that are jumping in the portal due to coaching change when those kids haven't had a chance to meet with the new head coach yet.
We got a couple here that I'm going to read together because they're about the same thing. Zay Capilot says, did y'all see Jamarian Carlton flatten Felix Ojo in the American pass rush drill? And then there was
I'll get the comment.
Can we take a second to talk about Carlton manhandling Ojo? That's 2 for 2 on Texas commits exposing him.
Well, I did watch that a few times, and I think that was either a down for the count or somebody needed a quick whistle. Plays over on contact. Plays over.
Yeah, if you didn't see it, I mean, for those that didn't, I mean, Jamarian Carlton literally put him on his back.
I'm about to play it for y'all.
Oh, are you? Make sure we publicize who we got the clip from.
Yep. This is from Charles Power.
On 3.
Yeah, from Rivals. Same thing.
Yep.
But here you go. If I can get it to come up. There we go. It should play here in a second.
Let me
redo that one more time.
Look, I want to say this, and I said this last summer when it happened against Richard Wesley to Ojo. I want to see all these kids go maximize their talent, succeed. That's the way I've always been in this business. I don't care where any kid goes to school. One thing I like to see is go see talent maximizers and see what happens. Do you have it in you to go maximize your talent? And I said all that to say this. And if you're an offensive lineman and you chat a lot on social media, people are coming after your ass. And this drill's already set up for a defensive player. And when you run your mouth a lot, sometimes that's what you get. because offensive lineman, and he needs development. He can be a good player at some point. He was a second-team all-district player his junior year in high school, but some people had him ranked number 1 in America. Make it make sense to me, recruiting industry. Make it make sense. He was a second-team all-district player as a junior in high school. I think people bypass that. But you can't run – the best offensive linemen don't run their mouths on social media all day about how great they are. They put their head down and go kick your ass. I hope he learns from it. I want him to maximum. I want him to go be a good player because he's very talented, but he needs to learn as an offensive lineman. Go look on social media. Who are the OLs that run their mouth all day on social media? You are become a true target when you do that.
I want to take this a different instead of a lesson maybe to Felix Ojo. I want to take it more into the Jamarian Carlton kicking someone's butt, because it's not just with Felix Ojo that Jamarian Carlton is winning there. He's winning a lot and is one of the surprises of that All-American game at this point. He, of course, was a late win for Texas over Baylor. He had long been committed to Baylor, and Texas decided to go push for him, and I think they're going to get rewarded for that. Jamarian Carlton will see some action as a true freshman, in my opinion. So he's got some physicality to him. He's got the physicality that you need to play early. Now, I'm not saying he's going to start or any of that other stuff. Don't get me, but he's got the physicality like Lance Jackson had the physicality to play early.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
So I want to say this. He becomes a really, really good fit in a 3-man front at Texas when Will Muschamp's in a 3-man front. At that 5-tech spot, Jamarian Carlton's going to be a 6'4", 300-ish pound guy with really long arms. I think he's got a chance to be a really good, very good fit in that 3-man front when Will Muschamp's in that 3-man front. When he's in the 4-man front, Carlton's not going to be an in long term. I think he's going to be in the disruptive 3.
All right. Alex Scully, thank you for your super chat. I know it's portal season, but I never heard anything about the severity of Mosley's injury in the bowl game. Do you know the status on him?
It was a ankle or foot injury. It's not supposed to keep him out for the spring, is all I was told. He was in a boot post game, not a knee brace. So that's all I know at this point. There are some other injuries on the team right now that are going to keep people out of spring. I don't think Mosley is one of those. And I do think that, I will say this, one of the things that hurt Arch last year and hurt the offense as a whole is literally he did not have a single receiver other than Parker Livingston that went through spring practice with him. Not Jack Injuries, not Ryan Wingo, not Emmett Mosley. Not even DeAndre Moore went through spring practice with him. So 4 of the top 5 receivers last year did not go through spring practice. I think that this year, hopefully all of those guys get to go through spring ball, or all the main guys, whether it's Nick Townsend now or whoever it may be at whatever position. Hopefully they get a chance to go through it.
Then we have a super chat from Brad, going back to the Jordan Shipley talk. He said, will you let us know how we can help or donate to number 8?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I talked briefly about that. I think that we're waiting for let's see exactly what is needed first a little bit, and then we're going to do something obviously for Coach Shipley and his family. But I don't think that just going out there right now, because we don't know how long the rehabilitation process is going to be and all that stuff. But it's so kind of you to think about it. And I know a lot of people out there want to do something, but we'll let folks know and go from there.
All right. DMX, Kobe 8. Perfect world. Which running back, wide receiver, O-lines hit the portal and signed with Texas?
Well, I mean, Texas, Raleek Brown has committed. I think Texas needs a big back, a little bit of a pile pusher as well. And I think Derek Cooper's really good player, very good talent. He's also going to be a freshman. I think he can. The question is, for a guy like that, can you be ready early in the season, or is it going to be games 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and hopefully beyond for a guy like that as he gets accustomed, getting his feet wet in college football? Because it's different as a running back, man. I mean, I say it all the time, those holes pinch, those linebacker reads have to come quicker. Your eyes have to stay up on first contact, because in high school, if you drop your eyes on contact and you still have time to get your eyes up against high school defenders and find where that guy's coming from, break another tackle and have a big run. In college, if your eyes are down on contact, by the time you get your eyes up, you're getting hit again. So there's some big, everybody talks about pass pro, which is part of it, of course, but also the running part. As a running back, there's some big adjustments for most guys. I think Derek Cooper is going to be a really good player. I think Texas has a need for that. I think, Christian Clark, James Simon, Michael Terry still in the fold. We'll see where all that's at as well. But I still think there's a need because, running backs are going to get banged up every year. Name a year it hasn't happened at Texas, and some have been rough. So I still think there's a need for an experienced downhill guy. Offensive line. Look, I think one of the big things is somebody asked about Trevor Gooseby being out in California in the chat. It's a good time to address that too, Bobby. That's been scheduled. He's out meeting with Excel. So that's his that's his agency. He's just continuing to go through a process there, but all signs still are the same. Offensive line. So what I said on offensive line, if Texas gets a right tackle in the portal, of course, Brandon Baker would be move inside. If they don't, they got to have 2 high-end guards.
Need offensive linemen, guys. That's got to be a priority. Still try to get guys that can move the needle for you. Kedu Loave, I think it's one of those. Cam Coleman, clearly one of those. Perhaps a Trey Richardson. We're gonna see what Texas has in store for us. I think there's some guys that we're not even talking about yet that they are on. I can't say both Raleek Brown and Zion Williams are both back at the facility already today. I'm being told. So Texas still recruiting a lot of guys. Dante Simpson was in yesterday. That's the defensive lineman out of Miami too. So a lot of guys.
By the way, tech and safety. I think it was Tejana 512 mentioned safety. Edwin Joseph still out there for Texas.
Yep.
I think they would take Edwin Joseph if it went their way. Tennessee's trying to make a big late push there. Dave actually asked something earlier in the chat. I'm going to bring this up real quick, Blake, because it's worth us mentioning again. This chat's moving so fast. On Andre Kojo was the question. Let me pull this up. What's the update on Kojo's rehab? If healthy, he'd be a good candidate for one of the guard positions potentially. He was in full pads. CJ and I and Bobby down in Orlando. It wasn't in full pads. They weren't in full pads, but he had shoulder pads on, no helmet for the bowl practices. So he's getting closer. He should be good for spring to take part in spring. And the question there is, does he stay in as a right tackle and compete out there? Or does Texas look into moving him into guard? Texas does like the Colemans. They really like Jackson Christian, and they really like Nick Brooks. There's going to be some real competition there.
I want to say one thing about Andre Kojo that I noticed, Jerry. When he came to Texas, he's overweight a little bit, trying to reshape his body, et cetera. When guys get injured, big guys especially, okay, there's a big propensity for them to balloon back up, right? Because they're not as active. That has not happened with Andre Kojo. He's kept himself in good shape. So that's a positive sign for him when he does and is able to get back on the field. For those unaware, for those who forget, he was a backup tackle competing with Brandon Baker for the starting right tackle job when he tore his ACL first or second week of spring practice or fall practice.
Bobby, before we move on, I need you to tell everyone about one of our sponsors today. That's Mint Mobile.
I can do it. Now that the holidays are over, you might be feeling that spending hangover, the food, the drinks, the gifts. It adds up fast. January is when most people start cutting back, and one of the easiest wins for me has been our wireless carrier here at the house. That's why I use Mint Mobile. Compared to my old carrier, I get the same quality service without the massive monthly bill. And right now, they're offering 50% off unlimited premium wireless. Mint Mobile's end-of-year sale is still going on, but only until the end of the month. You can cut out big wireless and their bloated plans with 50% off 3, 6, or 12 months of unlimited. All plans include high-speed data plus unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. And you can keep your phone, keep your number, and just switch in minutes. I use Mint Mobile, and you should too. The service has been just as reliable as what I had before. I'm just paying a lot less. This January, quit overspending on wireless with 50% off unlimited premium wireless. Plans start at $15 a month. MintMobile.com/OnTexas. That's MintMobile.com/OnTexas. And I got to read this part. Limited time offer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, $180 for 12 months. Plan required. It's equivalent to $15 a month either way. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Speeds over 50 gigabytes. May slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. Again, that's mintmobile.com/OnTexas. Plans start at $15 a month.
Somebody asked about, I do want to address this, the Georgia safety in the target, in the portal, Jonell. I can't pronounce his last name. Yeah, even when he was at IMG, Texas is not expected to make a move there.
Okay, our next super chat this morning comes from Mulligan. Mully, is Austin, Texas not a desirable location for these top talents in the portal?
Yes, it is. That's not the problem, guys. I mean, you played in the Big Ten and you played at Wisconsin and your parents are from Connecticut. It's an easier trip to Columbus, Ohio than it is Austin, Texas. That's just Austin's not a problem. I'll just put it like that. Now, some kids do like the smaller town atmosphere and stuff, but the majority are really in favorable of a place like Austin.
Yeah.
Arch Manning included, right?
I think the town cities matter much more for high school recruits than any portal recruit that's going to be somewhere 11 months. Yeah. I think it's a different consideration for a high school kid who, when you're recruited out of high school, even though there's the portal, you're looking at somewhere you believe you're going to spend the next 4 years of your life. I don't think any of that city towns matter for a kid who's thinking I'm here 10, 11 months and I'm off to the NFL.
All right, our next super chat this morning comes from Jeff Davis. Do you think Coleman is a UT and A&M fight? Of course, he's at Tech right now, right?
He's leaving Tech, going to be at Bama, I think. I think everybody's in it until they're not.
I agree with Jerry. I think Bama is a bigger threat than people want to realize right now, and I wrote that this morning. I'm not so sure Bama's not the competitor everyone's fighting.
All right, and then we have one this morning from Christian Perez. He says, is it just me or is Texas struggling to find a place for Michael Terry on the field? If he was that good, then Sark wouldn't be looking for another back in the portal. Just my opinion, guys.
I think so. Here's my take on Michael Terry, and it's been that way this has been this way since he senior in high school. I think Michael Terry is a tremendously athletically talented prospect. Even in high school, he had never, and the same with Jelani McDonald, a lot of other guys. He had never settled into one position in high school. He was that versatile guy. Alamo Heights needed him in many, many ways to win football games, and that coach does a great job there. His senior year, he played almost exclusively running back. So then he came to Texas as a wide receiver. Well, he had never had any development at wide receiver that you need to play on the high-end college level. So he's a prospect as talented he is. He's going to take time. So then what happens this year is he spends the majority of the year working to develop at wide receiver, then moves to running back. So he's still in that position where he hasn't had any true, like, so if you say, okay, well, he's had 4 weeks, maybe 5 as a running back. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot for a guy who hasn't always been a running back. This is not a guy that's played running back his whole life. So his development curve, I think, is longer than the fans necessarily want it to be for how athletically gifted he is. I think the biggest thing for Michael Terry, he needs to lock into, in Texas, where whatever needs to happen, he needs to lock into one position and develop. Jelani McDonald, look at the huge gains he made. He didn't play a lot of safety in high school. He's a high school quarterback, and he moved all around. He played secondary, but he was a high school quarterback. Look at the jump he made from year 1 to year 2, then year 2 to year 3. And now he'll be going to this final year with Will Muschamp and getting ready for the draft. I think Michael Terry needs to lock in, stay at one position, and really develop at that, so all that ability can start to come through on the field when he hits the field.
I think Jelani McDonald's a great comparison. McDonald started his Texas career at linebacker before finding a home at safety. Now he's going to be a potential first-round pick next year. Sometimes for these athletes that are like that, it just takes time to find a spot. As far as Texas not needing a running back, though, because of that, if he was any good, that's not necessarily true. Texas is going to want proven commodities, guys.
I need to jump off and take this call, guys. There's a lot of stuff going on.
All right. Almost had him back there for a second. All right, Bobby. Let's see here. We got a lot more to get into. Worldwide blends. Again, how are our fans not trusting in the staff to develop the players from the 25 class? We aren't going to get every portal player. Stay calm, folks.
Agree with this. I think that, look, everybody gets excited when a portal opens and things are going great. I have an update, by the way. Notre Dame now has 19 players in the portal and 0 commitments.
There you go.
I think certain people have certain things. Blake, let's bring Jerry back in if we get a chance, as soon as we get a chance. Hold on one second, guys. I think that what we're looking at right now, from my vantage point, is Texas is doing quite well in the portal. They just got a domino on some of the big name players, and they've also got to get this 25 class through the portal window and then really start developing them immediately. Jonah Williams needs to start playing better. They need to keep upping the ante on guys like Justice Terry and Cade Phillips. High-end players, in my opinion, that can become great players eventually. I think those kind of guys are valuable.
All right. And I think Jerry's still on the phone. Spence GPT2 says, if you could get one player to return that's currently in the portal for Texas, who would it be?
I don't know.
Tough question.
Yeah, maybe Nate Kibble. Maybe Nate Kibble for me, because I think he's a solid depth piece. And he was going to push for playing time this year, depending on who the Longhorns brought in. So that would be, and the Longhorns do need depth on the offensive line.
And then we have a couple of comments. Longhorn Living, welcome back, Jerry. Love the way Raleek played against Colorado, but then again, it's Colorado, Big 12 defense. Thank you for your super chat. Let's see here. Staying on running backs now. Bobby's got to take a call.
This is crazy times, man.
Bevo Chicken and Pancakes. Who is a good in between the tackles runner that's available, Jerry?
I think I'm waiting to see who else goes into the portal.
And then Barden just wanting to catch up. Do y'all have a complete listing of who all signed / departed? Thanks for what y'all do. Hook 'em.
We were going to bring that up. We're going to make the complete list of departures tomorrow on the show, Blake. We do have an updated list of Texas departures and where they've signed.
Yeah, we got some outgoing.
So for those that there's so much to keep up with. Trey Wisner, obviously Florida State. Parker Livingstone, an enemy. Nate Kibble, Baylor. Caleb Chester, Arizona State. I think he picked a really good school, by the way. Jarrett Gibson, Purdue. Connor Stroh, Kansas. We think DeAndre Morse, C.J. Baxter, possibility they could end up in the SEC. They both visited Kentucky. Jordan Washington as well as potential there, right, Blake? So there's a lot. There's more guys in this. Obviously, there's 18 officially in the portal right now. I'm going to reset Bo Barnes in a second. Derek Williams returned to Texas, never officially went in the portal. Somebody asked earlier, I thought Sark had a no portal policy. I think one thing to consider with a no portal policy is that Will Muschamp was hired as the DC, and Will Muschamp is going to make decisions on defensive personnel at Texas. So I just go with that. I mean, look, and he gets hired. Somebody's already said they're leaving. If he thinks that guy can bring some value, I think and he didn't officially go in the portal, I think Will's going to have the opportunity to make that decision with this defense this year while he's still trying to put this thing together to maximize the Texas defense the best he can. On Bo Barnes, he's scheduled, I think, to talk to Texas once again coming up. So I do expect some news on Bo Barnes later today. The Dolphins just fired McDaniels. Okay, yep. That's interesting.
Kyle Witherspoon, Texas considered looking at Bryson Washington, bigger back, 216 pounds, average 5 yards carry, looks explosive. He was a beast in high school, I can tell you that.
Yeah, Franklin. Yeah, I think A&M and a couple others are involved there. We haven't heard about Texas yet. Doesn't mean something can't materialize. I do want to bring this up. Jason Ablinski says, can't be good with – no, it can be good. It can be bad. I'm just here to tell you, like, doing this a long time, this may be as busy, how much mass chaos that's going on, as I've dealt with in a week in this business. And that's saying something. This is nuts, man. I mean, this is nuts. You're chasing rabbits all over the place, man. I mean, it's just like it's like you're trying to corral the chicken in the movie Rocky, right? I mean, it's like, this is crazy times right now. I can't even imagine, legitimately, I'll tell you this, I can't even imagine being a college football staff right now trying to deal with all this stuff. Talking to kids, talking to agents, trying to keep guys from going in the portal, making decisions on some guys, whether you want to retain them or not. This is, well, I don't know whatever warp speed is, but college football recruiting has absolutely hit warp speed. This is as much as I've ever dealt with. I'll be honest. This is crazy. It's fun, and it can be bad, and it can be good, but it is nuts. But our threads at On Texas Football are a hell of a lot of fun.
I tell you how crazy it is. There was a prospect that entered the portal this week. Within probably 5 minutes of their announcement, they had multiple, and I mean multiple, not just 1, 2, 3, 4 coaches call, a ton of coaches call, and their phone rang the entire night. Just one school after another, after another, after another.
Same story with another guy. Same story. It's like 7, 8 calls wanting to set up visits within an hour.
Yeah.
Of announcing you're going in the portal. I mean, boom, immediate.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, the agent gets peppered. The second that it's announced the player is going in the portal.
Yeah. All right, let's go to this one from John Sims. Did Muschamp have a chance to talk to the linebacker who just committed to Ohio State? Obviously, they need to put the best foot forward.
Yes, absolutely. Muschamp was there on the visit and talked to him multiple times after the visit.
Yeah. And we went into this earlier, Spank Boogie, but are kids using the portal for leverage, and is the portal and rev share killing the importance of high school recruiting and being development? We sort of went into it.
This is a great topic for me. You know, yes, kids, agents, there's no doubt, 100%. That's their job in representing their client, is to get him the potential best deal they can, and then that kid has to decide where he wants to be. For sure, that happens. No way about it. And I do think, I will say this, now, if you're considering going in the portal, now that a lot of guys are coming off the board, I do think you have more leverage if you jump in right now at certain positions. I absolutely do think that is the case. The last part is that killing the importance of high school recruiting and being development. I'm not backing off this. When all this started, this is going to turn into Major League Baseball. You're going to be A-ball, AA, AAA, in the majors. And that is the really tough thing, bad thing about, if there's the worst thing, in my opinion, from the portal, I think guys should get paid, is I do think from a high school perspective, it is really, really hurting kids in recruiting. I mean, you're seeing kids going to D2 schools in football and basketball that would have been Division I players 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And you're having to legitimately start in A-ball in some cases and work your way up to the majors.
Hey, I want to use it. It's not killing it. It's not the right term, guys. Marginalizing it.
Yeah.
Could be. And I would say this, getting off the phone, Texas extremely excited about Raleek Brown and what he brings, the juice to the running back room on the outside, Jerry. It's a speed component they haven't had since Jaden Blue and Keelan Robinson played those roles at Texas. Really excited about that. Texas expecting several visitors today, including Cal linebacker Cade Uluwave. Uluwave has entered with a non-contact tag. It does not appear that he's contemplating returning to Cal, by the way, which I think has been an issue for folks over the last couple of weeks, or last week, with all these guys going. There's also some other new movement behind the scenes going on along the offensive line front that we'll probably learn more about today and tomorrow in talking to those folks.
Okay, let's jump back into super chats. Ron wants to know any interest in linebacker Rashid Biles from Pitt. I think we actually talked about this yesterday.
Yeah, no relation to Simone, I don't think. But we haven't heard anything yet. Could that change? It could always change. We have not heard that yet.
He visited Colorado kind of out of the blue earlier this week. I'm not sure Texas has made contact there.
Yeah.
And along the same lines of asking about certain players, Bald Father Betts, any chance of Damon Wilson II?
No, that one's not. There's been 3 or 4 schools mentioned with him. Texas is not interested there. Really, really good pass rusher off the edge. He is, Rocky Moore said, visiting FSU later. And I think Colorado's been mentioned there too. He needs to get serious about playing the run. If he played the run right now, he'd be off to the NFL.
All right. Not to stall the show, says Drew Lockhart, but Bobby, can you explain collective bargaining and how it assists in retention?
Yeah, absolutely. If you create collective bargaining like they have in the NFL, it allows you to create a set of rules that everybody actually has to play by and are standardized, not state to state, not Byzantine like the NCAA, a Byzantine set of rules like the NCAA tries to retrofit. And by creating collective bargaining, you could have multi-year deals. You could have everything from buyouts that are actually have teeth in them, as opposed to just getting walked around. You could have something different than a portal window. There are a lot of things that I think collective bargaining would help with college football. And look, it's the Wild West out there right now. That's the best way to put it. Collective bargaining and giving the players a seat at the table would allow for some level of sanity. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. It's not guardrails. It's just sanity. Right now, you have 85 to 105 players every year that are free agents on every team. And different teams are operating under different levels of cash and NIL available to them. I just think that we need to relook at all of Division I FBS football and decide what it means. I don't think it's 136 schools should be in the same categorization. I think that's ridiculous. Let's start with there. I mean, Major League Baseball, the Houston Astros don't play the Asheville tourists or the Chattanooga lookouts. They just don't. And I think that we need a relook starting there.
I want to bring something up, Trey Hicks, because I did mention this, but a lot of people come and jump in the show at different times. That I missed a conversation on starting safety from Georgia. Texas not expected to make a move on Jonell. Good player. Texas not expected to make that move. They're waiting on Edwin Joseph, and there maybe a couple others to pop up, but it's not Jonell.
Mulligan Molly says if we get Raleek Brown done and Cam Coleman, they will be explosive next year, even with the current O-line roster.
They're going to add offensive linemen, though, guys. And I agree with the explosive comment. That's the goal on offense. You get Cam now that Raleek Brown's done. You get Cam Coleman, fingers crossed, right? You're going to be explosive next year. You may be explosive without Cam Coleman. Need another receiver, though, that can really take the top off, in my opinion, in this recruitment. I think they have to get O-linemen, though, guys. I'm not going to back off of that need. I think it was the highest priority going into the portal. I think it's still the highest priority. I think they need 2 starter-level offensive linemen in this portal class because I just don't think you can – I don't think you can chance it, and I think you need quality backups. Especially as you go to a 9-game SEC schedule and you've got Ohio State too. Those are tough asks for an offensive line.
Now we got a pair of super chats regarding Kyle Flood. We've got to group these together. Traveling Tyler, thank you for yours. He says, at what point do we start questioning Kyle Flood and his recruiting and development? Feel like the penalties on the offensive line hasn't gotten better since he's been here. Is he on thin ice with Sark this season? And then same thing with Justin Daniels. Were the high school offensive line evals poor with Flood? We shouldn't be desperate for linemen at this level. What's the solution with offensive line recruiting going forward?
I think that the biggest, it is without question the single position where there are more misses than any other, and that's offensive line. Because there is such need for development from point A when they enter college and point Z when they leave college. I mean, there is no other position that's even remotely close because development is so key. They're just the number of offensive linemen that come through your program that are actually ready to play day one. It's like 1 in 25. It's not 1 in 5. It's like 1 in 25. Whereas a cornerback could be 1 in 5 is ready to play. 1 in 4. Safety, 1 in 4, 1 in 5. There is no position that the chasm between start and finish is larger, in my opinion. I would say this. Kyle Flood has shown to be an adequate recruiter, not necessarily a great recruiter. He's lost out on some big recruitments. There's no doubt about that. At the same time, I mean, Texas has won 13 games, 12 games, and 10 games. And yes, the offensive line at the start of the 25 season was a hot mess. And I'm sure Kyle Flood contributed to that as a coach. It's his domain, his dominion. So he takes responsibility for it. That being said, by the end of the year, the offensive line wasn't the issue. They went 6-1 down the stretch when they made one change. Or 7-1. So I think people don't give grace very easily. And I don't know that his standing with Steve Sarkisian has changed one iota at all. So, I mean.
It can't because the head coach has the final call on all this, guys. He's the play caller. He runs the offense. Let's not forget that. All right, what's next?
Mike McDaniels has been fired by the Miami Dolphins, the Dolphins head coach. Yep. I got somebody with a grin said, new Longhorn offensive analyst Mike McDaniel. It's a joke. It's a joke, but pretty funny.
All right. Guy here watching Raleek's highlights. This guy's far more explosive and shifty than Wisner with more breakaway speed. This is an upgrade, guys.
He's look, I mean – Trey Wiseman's a really good football player. Had put it on the wall in the SEC. And I know everybody says, well, he only rushed for 600 yards this year. Yeah, we got hurt. He missed the 3 games where you pile up 400. So you miss San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston. And yes, he would have had big games against them. I don't care what anything looked like. He's a really good player. I think with Raleek Brown is a different player. But I think Raleek Brown is going to be tremendous out of the backfield for Texas and bring some make-you-miss juice to the run game. But he will not be the run game in the SEC.
And then we got one from Kozer7 says, Flood has developed tackles well, Banks, Jones, Williams, Gooseby, Baker, but the interior has not been quite the same. Are recruits transfers aware of that to where it influences decisions?
No.
People look at recruit. You know what recruits will look at? NFL draft picks.
Yeah. Hayden Connor was drafted. DJ Campbell will be drafted this year. You know, I think that you don't need, that's just not something they get down into, man. Now there could be I will say this, there could be a coach out there that has a unbelievable record or something, and then he starts comparing it, but it's not a negative out of the gate or anything like that.
Mike, we have so many super chats. We'll get to it.
Jose here. Blake, baseball season soon. Thoughts on the team? I'm going to make this very quick thoughts. They're going to be great as long as they can stay healthy. Like top 3 to top 5, great. As long as they can stay healthy. Pitching will be well. Hitting will be well. Fielding will be well. Should be a fun year for Texas. Braggs Trow says, part of the job of the GM is knowing which players are available and realistic. Sarkisian have failed spectacularly in that regard.
I mean, look, there's been misses. I think they've swung for the fences. And I think the ball's been caught on the warning track more times than not, and we'll see how it ends.
Can we be over dramatic anymore? Failed spectacularly. They haven't. They have 7 commitments right now. They'll end up with 15 to 18. They haven't failed spectacularly. I don't know what else to say. Have they been perfect? No. Are they still after some key guys? Yes. We'll see where it all ends. But don't bring me. I mean, when did the portal open? Friday of last week? It's not even been. It's been 6 days. You know, the what are you going to say? The farm hasn't been harvested yet. Wait until it's actually harvested and then figure this out. You don't even know who all is in the portal yet. I mean, we don't even know, like there could be, I mean, literally, we don't even know who all is in the portal yet. I'm telling you, there are bigger names coming. From 4 teams, by the way, that are still in the playoffs. Yeah. Don't bring this. They failed. Don't over dramatize this. It does nobody any good other than rile people up for no reason.
I will say, from my perspective, what I said earlier, the ball's been swinging for the fences. Ball's been caught on the warning track. They need to hit some ground rule doubles coming up.
Yeah, or a home run or 2.
A home run would be nice, or 2.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, then we have one from, I just lost my spot, sorry. B2 in Austin, Texas. Could you take a moment or two to discuss men's basketball? What the heck is going on with Sean Allen and team?
Sean Miller. Look, I've said this from the start.
Sean Miller. Sorry.
I've said this from the start. People think this is just, I've said it the whole time, is first year you just go win. And I'm going to say this again before I get to Texas. Danny Hurley didn't make the tournament. And this is in the portal area. His first year, Todd Golden, Rick Pitino at St. John's, Chris Beard at Ole Miss, Nate Oates at Alabama. You can keep going. The angry guy at Illinois, who's a really good coach, with Brad Underwood. Other guys, Mick Cronin at UCLA. It's not a given. What I will say is what I think we're going to see in Texas basketball is moving forward is in the portal is if you don't, you have to play hard all the time. And this is first-year coaches have gone through this in the NIL era, in the transfer era. But I think you're going to see a different type of thing moving forward at Texas basketball. I'll say this. I think Sean Miller's a damn good basketball coach. Nothing's moving me off of that. Nothing moves the coaching community off of that. He is very well-respected basketball coach. But you still have to get it done.
All right. Tyree Mitchell, thank you for your super chats. He says, unless Robinson out of Georgia comes to Texas, I'm content with establishing a three-headed monster with Brown and Cooper. Your thoughts on that? And then we had one other one about Robinson, but I cannot find it. My apologies. We have so many today. So I'll let y'all start with that one, and I'll try to find the other one.
Look, there is no doubt that Derek Cooper was their first-round draft pick at running back this year. I mean, that's the equation I would say. The running back RB from John. Look, let's get guys. Don't put the cart before the horse, please. That's all I will say about all of this. My new mantra is talk to me about it when they enter the portal. I think if we've learned anything this year, it's that. We'll see what all happens. I don't know how hard Texas is going to go for a second running back. It will probably be dependent on who goes in. I'll just put it that way. And I think that's a fair assessment. But Derek Cooper, a lot is expected of him in 2026.
All right. And then we have one from Brandon. Brandon says 2 5-star receivers in the 2025 class. What's holding them back?
Who was Khalil Lockett ranked a 5-star? Who was ranked a 5?
Some people had guys ranked a 5, some guys didn't. I mean, it wasn't like consensus. We're consensus guys. They're highly ranked guys whose rankings fluctuate a little bit. Khalil Lockett, tremendous body control, really good 50-50 ball catcher. His touchdown catch in the Citrus Bowl is pretty much what he did his whole high school career. I think these guys, look, these guys, they still have development in front of them. I mean, unless you're a super freak, and these guys weren't super freaks. They're very good prospects that just can go out and win immediately. There's development that goes on with that, goes along with that as well. Getting stronger. Khalil Lockett I say this all the time. He has the biggest hands, I think 11-inch hands of any 6'1.5" skill guy I've ever seen in my life. He's also gained 10, 12, 14 pounds since he's left high school. He was also very thin. He was a younger senior in high school. There's still development that goes with that. Getting off of press coverage, winning down the field, creating separation. If you're not a speed merchant, you have to learn how at the college level to create true separation and give yourself a chance to win consistently. There's things that come with that. Jamie French, look, I think some of these guys have to be patient with their development. And I think the rankings sometimes push that, these guys are going to be instant contributors. And sometimes we're all guilty of it, of saying, hey, this guy looks really good. I think he can contribute early. Then he gets there and there's learning a system. How long does it take you to pick up that system no matter what your talent level is? How long does it take you to learn the nuances that you need at a position at the college level if you're not a super freak athlete to where you can create that separation and get open and then put yourself in the position to make plays? I think there's a lot that goes with it. The guys who are guys have to be patient with their development. And it's tough in the portal area.
All right. And then we got one from Mike 6767. Is there a chance that we retain a few players that's in the portal?
We're officially in the portal. No. But guys that haven't officially entered but said they're going to enter, like Derek Williams, it's a defensive player. Yes, we're monitoring Bo Barnes.
Let's see, McCleskey, are there any big dogs out there you're monitoring from other schools who have not hit the portal from other schools? If so, who?
Yes, and if we told you who, it would not behoove us to release that, nor for the University of Texas. I think that you just got to wait and see if guys actually go in the portal. That's all there is to it anymore, McCluskey. Waiting beforehand or talking about it beforehand is useless. Blake sent me an internal chat from somebody that thought he knew somebody was going in the portal and was definitely going to Texas. And the next, like an hour later, such and such has re-signed with his existing school. I mean, that just wait until they go into the portal, or at least announce it.
And then let's see, CD Zebra. What does it say about our GM/front office that Will Muschamp has had to step in on 2 separate occasions to smooth things over with current players?
I think the main thing there that I want to make the point of is, Will hadn't had a chance to meet with these guys. I mean, he came to Texas for 2 observation days to see what was there, truly there from his eyes on the defensive side of the ball. He came to 1 bowl practice, 1 more observation to see the defensive players, get a feel for those guys, see who he thought would fit with him best way possible without truly knowing some of these guys. Having those conversations with him, then after the bowl game, the portal begins immediately. So I think there's a part of that is very important, that Will Muschamp needs to have conversations with these guys, tell them, okay, this is where I could see your fit. This is the opportunity I could see you have here. He didn't have a chance to do that. He had to evaluate the guys first and decide, okay, this guy actually I think will fit with what I do. His personality may fit with what I do. This guy can help our football team. That doesn't happen instantly. I mean, the kids have been gone. They've been gone since the end of the semester, since the end of the bowl game. Some people are like, well, why hadn't he met with Bo Barnes? Well, Bo Barnes has not been in Austin, and Will Muschamp's been on the road trying to recruit guys. And so now those conversations are starting to take place. Somebody said Muschamp's being thrown in the fire. Damn right. That any coach that goes into a coaching change, imagine being a head coach trying to get guys back that have jumped in the portal. As a head coach, Kyle Whittingham, John Sumrall, they're all going through it, to be clear.
Anthony Smith's mom in the chat this morning. Good morning. Let's see.
Hey, she never said where Ty Anthony got his hands from. Does she not want to take credit? If you say no, Miss Smith, we're going to assume you have Rod Baber's hands.
Big poke here. Is Jonah Williams committed to football or baseball?
Football in football season and baseball in baseball season.
Yeah.
What does that mean for football? Means he's going to miss 2 spring practices in a row.
I don't think he's going to miss.
Unless he finds some days.
I'm being told that he's going to practice of the 15 allotted days, at least 12 to 13 will be.
He's going to have to. He didn't practice any last year, and that put him behind. If he's going to make it big move in football, he absolutely has to take part in spring practices. It can't be just sitting in the office. It's not going to be enough for football. He's got to take part.
Roy. Thank you, Roy. Is Texas having issues balancing chasing the experienced players and retaining the current players on the roster?
Yes, but it's not a problem unique to Texas. I mean, everybody in the country is having this issue. Everybody. It's not just Texas. I mean, that's the reality of life. I'm trying to tell you, this is, I started off saying it's economics 101. That's what it is. It's give and take, supply and demand. Somebody can be a first round pick at another place versus being a depth piece at Texas and vice versa. That's what a lot of what is driving this, Roy. And we're here for the interplay of it. But there's no doubt that everyone is having that issue, not just Texas. I mean, what is Ohio State is losing 5-star guys right now because of it.
And I'm going to jump ahead to a couple of super chats. Jerry put the lampshade back on. Joe Forrester says, preach it, Bobby. So tired of fans being so dramatic with the eye rolling emoji. And then we got another one here from Longhorn Frenzy. He says, good morning, fellas. On a more positive note, I've been
Back on
from the doctor after my foot surgery last August. I ordered more cowboy coffee. Y'all keep up the good work. I know the OGs appreciate y'all's hard work.
I want to say on the first one, I love the fans. I love you care. If you didn't care, we wouldn't have. We none of us would be here. I love that everybody cares. We have so much fun on the ontexasfootball.com message board, our portal threads. We have fun. We're sarcastic, but we all care, and I love that everybody cares. I really do, because that's what. Look, that's why Texas is a coveted job.
That's why Texas is Texas in part.
That's why LSU LSU can be as bad as anywhere for a football coach. With the talent you can get at these places in the history of being able to accomplish big things, that's what the fans is a big part of what makes it that way. And I will say this: if Texas fans, if you ever think, am I being too hard on Texas? Do I care too much? Go follow a Kentucky basketball message board, and you'll say, I can care even more. Because Mark Pope's in living hell right now in Kentucky.
All right, Longhorn Frenzy, thank you for your super chat as well. Glad that you're fully healthy now. That's great news.
You can make it to the tailgates now.
Yep, that's right. All right, so we got an answer here. It says Ty got his hands from his dad. His dad was a beast in high school football, but then she wants to know, are we getting Cam or not?
I love this.
That's the best parent super
Mama
chat.
knows. She knows what's going on. We don't know yet, though, this Smith. He's at Texas Tech currently. He's expected to visit Alabama. Has already seen Texas and Texas A&M. I do think Texas has more than a puncher's chance. I think that some people are sleeping on Alabama right now. That's his native home state, even though they are going to be going to have a new quarterback next year. Alabama may be a little bit more in it than most people believe. I still think Texas has a very, very good shot here.
All right. Let's see. Next one, Rocky P said Jerry and Bobby both got calls, spill the beans. I don't see that happening, but good try, Rocky P. Jason Oblinsky, Jerry, do you think the top 20 players in the country are fixing to start getting even bigger paydays? Should only invest in immediate impact guys?
This is a great question. And if you're talking about high school recruiting, absolutely. Because, and the crazy thing though is, and Bobby and I have both been in it. We weren't doing national when this happened. Recruiting rankings now impact NIL in high school, which is amazing to me, but it does. But I think this is a great super chat, Bobby, because I think as some of these programs, these power programs sign less high school kids in future years, which seems to be where it's heading, then those cream of the crop guys, whether they should be ranked there or not, they do have more leverage in the game, and their agents have more leverage in the high school game, recruiting game.
Yeah, and I think you got to be more selective on who all you pay money to that is larger figures. I mean, before Texas could go after 25 guys and pay them all healthily and end up with a number one class. Now you might try to position yourself to sign 10 to 12 guys like that and develop others so that you have more flexibility on your current roster without having to overpay through the developmental years. Certain guys. And that's a reality. I think some of the freshman class and even sophomore class at Texas right now are dealing with that realization. Unwantedly, but it's part of the equation right now.
And let's see. We went into this multiple times in depth. Dukester, thank you for your super chat. Why are kids not choosing Texas? Is there something under the radar screen we're not understanding? This doesn't feel like a coincidence.
I think it's player by player, case by case. There's no broad stroke you can brush across the canvas right now. I do think that the kids that decided to go back to their original schools. Texas made offers. I'm not sure the Michigan kids should have gone in the portal, for example, if they were really just aiming for raises at their current teams. Same with Florida and Jaden Woods. Ultimately, he had better offers and just wanted to go back, didn't want to move, just wanted Florida up the ante. So there has been a little bit of that with Texas. And then other things, guy that wants to stay in the Big Ten because he knows the parameters of the league, right? Those things happen. I don't think it's one single way to look at this. I think it's case by case.
Colt Zeeler, hope I'm saying that correctly. Jerry, do you like Jelani McDonald staying one more year to Jahdae Barron? Could have been drafted a year early, but made the smart decision to stay and end up making more money and improve the stock.
I think I'm not. They're different players, but from the standpoint of upping stock, yes. Now Jelani's not going to have a position change like Jahdae did, but which really helped Jahdae. But I think Jelani, I think what it's going to be good for him, another year of development, obviously, but he's going to prove he can play in multiple schemes this year. I mean, that's the thing. Will Muschamp's going to come in, and he's going to ask him to do some different things than what PK did. So he's going to get to show some versatility in scheme this year as well. I think he's going to be a big run force guy at the safety position for Texas next year.
Another one for you, Jerry. Traveling Tyler, do you think Brown could be the most explosive catching back since Bijan?
No, because Jaden Blue is really good at that. I mean, that was actually – I've said this about Jaden Blue before. He is as good a receiver – and he had some drops. I'm not saying it's perfect, but he's as good a receiving running back out of the backfield as I'd seen come out of Texas. Watching kids, I mean, like you could watch him in high school football. You could watch him in 7-on-7, which I think 7-on-7 is in, but it still has its purpose from an evaluation standpoint. I think it's great for kids, but I think from an evaluation standpoint, it's not ideal. But he still showed great hands, is what he did. That guy he's very talented and very explosive in his first 10, 15 yards, as explosive as you'll find almost. So that gave him the ability to make huge plays in the passing game. I think Raleek Brown, I would say, is below Jaden Blue in that way, but really, really good. But I think he may be a natural better running back than Jaden Blue was at the same age.
Hey guys, I need to say thank you real quick to our sponsor of each and every Thursday edition of Coffee and Football. When it comes to regional travel, time matters and comfort does too. That's why more professionals are choosing Vaughn Lane for business trips, conferences, and meetings. With Vaughn Lane, there's no airport chaos and no long drive. You board quickly at private terminals just minutes from your destination and travel in a quiet, spacious cabin with only 22 first-class seats. Every trip includes complimentary Wi-Fi, snacks, beverages, hot towel service, and complimentary meals on select departures. And the experience speaks for itself. One customer recently shared, quote, "This was actually one of the best traveling experiences I've had. I don't think I'll ever drive myself to Houston again. The service was incredible, better than any flight attendant I've ever had. Comfortable ride, great amenities, great service." Vaughn Lane right now is also upgrading its fleet with Starlink internet, taking already included Wi-Fi to the next level. Ideal for working, emailing, and staying productive while you travel if you so choose. Vaughn Lane connects Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Fort Worth, even Plano and the Woodlands, along with Nashville, Memphis, Atlanta, and Knoxville. And for group travel, Vaughn Lane offers custom charters, letting you control the schedule, routing, and experience from start to finish. Book your next trip at vaughnlane.com. First-time riders can enter OTF26 at checkout to get $20 off their first trip. Vaughn Lane, elevated regional travel.
Morning, Jeff.
What's going on, fellas?
Hey, Jeff Howe, are you up to go on a special trip to Marfa after all this portal madness is over?
I was wondering where we're headed. As long as you're picking the destination and Jerry's not, I'll go wherever. I I trust Jerry with a lot of things. Trip destinations, I don't know. I could get dicey.
Jeff.
Jerry just picked someplace in Florida.
Jeff, that hurts.
Look, if it's got golf clubs involved, then we're good. If there's a different kind of club involved, then I don't know. We may have to
ask CJ about coconuts on the beach in Cocoa. I took him to at the Under Armour game.
You guys look like you had a hell of a time.
You have to have a hell of a time at any beach bar in Florida.
I've
never had a bad time.
Jerry likes umbrellas in his drinks.
No problem with that.
Hey guys, I got to get it going. I've got to get a flight here headed to Austin today. Y'all take care. Hook 'em horns.
Bye, Bobby.
All right. See you, Bobby.
All right, guys. We got more super chats before we get out of here. Jeff, thanks again for joining us to close it out. And Jason Ablinski, why are schools not negotiating multi-year deals with these guys?
I think some are in some ways, but and then it gets into then everybody's going to be employees, and that's not what the players will ever want. I think there's the best thing that could ever happen for me with NIL would be 2-year contracts with buyouts on both sides. Yeah, Jeff, this has always been my thought. 2-year contracts with buyouts on both sides. If a player wants to leave, there's a buyout with that. Same thing as if a coach leaves or somebody wants to hire a coach. If the university a kid signs with a 2-year deal with, they say, we missed on this guy. He's not as good as we thought. Hey, look, if you can go move on, find you a new home, it's not working out, they have to pay him a buyout. I think the best thing we could ever do is have 2-year contracts. And I might be totally wrong, but that's just my thought.
That's got to be collectively bargained, though.
That's
I don't trust the agents and lawyers and schools to figure it out themselves.
That's always and then it becomes you get to be employees. And that's not what the players and the agents want because it's too good right now on that side. I also think that if there's one other thing that should be looked at, I do think the one thing I don't like about college sports right now is being able to transfer every year and there's never a penalty.
100%. Yeah.
I think that's put college athletics in a really, and I'm not sure we're actually college athletics anymore. Let's be real about it. But I think that's put things in a really bad spot for the college fans because you see guys go from school 1, school 2, school 3, school 4. I think there should, at some point in that process, there needs to be, all right, you have to sit a year. At some point in that, there has to be. It can't just be transfer. Or
there's got to be some kind of financial
transfer fee. Somebody just brought up transfer fee.
Yeah. There's got to be some kind of financial disincentive to transfer. I've always been in favor of, hey, coaching changes happen, stuff happens. You get one mulligan, like you get one do-over. And after that, if you want to tie a financial component to it, I've been a big proponent, Jerry, since we are still talking about college, like have some kind of academic component to it. Like you have to be, let's bring back, hey, you got to have so much progress toward a degree if you want to be able to transfer and be eligible right away, or you've got to have so many credit hours towards your degree. And I think the carrot at the end too, hey, if you're a graduate student with eligibility left and you've already taken one free transfer, you get another. Like you got a degree. You're going to grad school somewhere. Congratulations. Like you get a penalty-free year to go somewhere.
Edgar Padilla. People like flash, but go watch Masunas blocking film, then go watch our tight ends blocking in the Citrus Bowl. A huge need is done. I trust Sark folks. Not everything is blockbuster. Hook 'em.
Very good inline tight end blocker. He will help the run game for sure.
Is this the former UMass guard, Edgar Padilla, in our chat, by the way?
Isaiah Rangel, we talked about Cam Coleman, still waiting on that one, but he also wants to know any more edge rushers to look out for.
Wendell Gregory, who signed with South Carolina out of Marietta Walton High in Atlanta area, northwest of Atlanta. He transferred to Oak State, 27 tackles and 4 sacks. He is at Oklahoma State, jumped in the portal. He is expected to visit Texas shortly. We'll see if it becomes a fit. I think the whole thing is, does that become a fit from an NIL perspective? Sitting down with Will Muschamp, does that become a fit in his defense?
And Amar says, good morning. My harem of women have kept me down lately. What's the reason for all the portal entrants? Seems like most of our scallies are leaving.
What's that?
Well, I'm sorry the harem of women have kept you down lately. It's tough to be that busy, and I'm sure.
Yeah.
What's the reason for all the portal entrants? Look, I think there's some decisions made from an NIL standpoint, from a roster standpoint, I think it's purely and simply that's what it is. So is Texas going to keep the same NIL deal with somebody who is maybe a third team guy than what they got coming out of high school? I think that's part of it. Then I think, look, I mean, some of these guys want to go play. They want to go start somewhere. And here's one of the things I think that's going to be interesting about the portal moving forward is if you're a second team guy and you've had a couple of years development, and you're getting let's just say offensive, defensive line, because those are the hardest positions for the lower P4s to truly fill. There's not offensive line. I think it's going to be very difficult to have depth in the future in the portal in college football. But say I'm just going to throw a school up, Maryland or Wake Forest, pick your school. And now you have rev share. You have the ability to go to some backup offensive, defensive linemen at some of the power universities, your blue bloods, your major universities, and say, hey, man, I can pay you more and you can start if you come over here. That's a pretty good pitch.
Yep.
If somebody's developed for a couple of years and they're not a starter, how long do you wait? And if you get paid more and go start, that may be the best move you can make for your career as well. And it's going to be tough for these colleges to have depth on the offensive line and defensive line, I think, long term, that they ideally want.
Yep. It can take guys a while, too, to get it, Jerry. Like Christian Jones, it took him a while. I know he's kind of an outlier situation, but it can take guys more than a couple years to develop and be college ready on the offensive line. And I think this isn't just offensive line, but I think this goes back to the scholarship question, or that may have been where we were just at. There's a lot of supers coming in, but if it was like one universal thing why guys were leaving, I think it'd be easy for everybody to wrap their heads around, but it's a case-by-case basis. Some guys it is money. Some guys it's opportunity. Some guys it's something else. There's not just one blanket reason why guys are leaving, and it's not all the scholarship guys. You're losing guys that in 2026 were going to be, quality depth pieces for you for the most part, with the exception of a few guys here or there. But it's not just one reason why guys are leaving.
And let's see, our next super chat this morning comes from but Code Red. Don't have anything from you, Ronnie J as well. If you put those in the chat, it's moving very quick. I'll see what I can do about getting that on there for you and get that fixed. Juan Garza, thank you for another super chat. Are you all confident Texas gets a big back in the portal?
I think they have to, Jerry. I mean, I don't know how confident that they will or not. They have to.
I think there's levels to it. I think they will. I don't think there's an elite 1A in that regard in the portal. So I think there's levels to it. Can they get a piece for the team? Yes. And that piece for the team could be a solid player that gives some of your younger backs, Derek Cooper, time to get adjusted to college football and actually being a running back in college football. But is there an elite 1A out there? No. Not unless somebody jumps in the portal in the next, what are we down to, 8 days?
And these questions kind of go together from Rocky P. Can you explain to people that the portal closing on January 16th doesn't mean we can't sign players after that, just that players can't enter? And on that same note, the Jet, this kind of answers your question. What happens to players who don't get on a team before the portal closes?
So, look, that's going to be – the second question is going to be fun to follow in the portal. Not for the players, but for the people that cover the portal. But the first part is 11:59 on January 16th. You have to have your name entered into the portal. That has no bearing on when you have to decide. Now, if you want to get in for spring football, in the spring semester, that's going to have to happen almost immediately. But there's going to be a lot of players that don't find homes because there's way too many players in the portal. There's going to be some guys that their recruitment goes through the spring semester, and they may be home training and not anywhere. So that's what's going to be interesting with this is I think there's going to be many schools, and hell, it may be schools that already have 20 guys signed in the portal that may find a special teams player, maybe fill a backfill third team type of need in the portal. And that could go all the way until May for some of these kids that are in the portal that don't find a home.
Jerry, I don't know if y'all talked about it this morning, but I think for Texas, I think the 20th is the last ad drop day without a special exception. So it's not even – you can find a guy beyond that. You just have to have a special exception from the dean of whatever school said players enrolling in. But, I mean, you can – there's – in theory, there's really no time limit on when that player arriving in the portal couldn't enroll.
Yeah.
And then we got a super chat this morning from Code Red. I think got his in, if I remember. Yeah. Is Texas looking for our young safeties to fill the free safety? Texas is loaded at the position, and are these guys misses?
Yeah, so I think Texas is looking for another safety in the portal. I do think that Edwin Joseph is still on the board. I do think Texas would take Edwin Joseph if it went their way. Tennessee's really come in a big way late. He's visited Texas A&M, and Ole Miss so far. I'm not sure if he's on campus at Tennessee or is going to be. But I do think Texas has a need at safety, yes, because you also have to consider, look, some guys were banged up at the end of the year. Not everybody that you saw on the field at the end of the year may be available for spring practice, as happens a lot. You might have something that needs to get cleaned up from a prior injury, and you may be out for spring. So I do think there's a need for a safety for a multitude of reasons. But one is if Jelani McDonald is more of that run defender, more of that guy you can move down closer to the line of scrimmage at times in Will Muschamp's scheme, who is going to be that center field playmaker. And I think there's going to be open competition for who that is. And I do think if Texas got somebody out of the portal that has experience there to compete with the guys that are already on campus.
The other big thing, Jerry, we look at the depth and we know what's there. Will Muschamp's just looking at this for the first time. So he's looking at it with a fresh set of eyes. So he may not like what's in there. He may want something different.
And Blake May with the super chat. Thank you, Blake. How much does Bama hiring Derek Nix affect Cam Coleman?
I mean, hard to say on that. I mean, it's hard to say on that. Obviously, he's recruited Cam Coleman. I mean, he recruited him. He's from Atala, Alabama, right? I mean, he attended Etowah High School. He was a running back at Southern Miss. He's been in the college game a long time, been recruiting the state a long time. He was at Auburn. He obviously was part of the recruitment. He was at Ole Miss before that. He was probably recruiting Cam Coleman in 8th grade or 9th grade, right? That's just the reality. If you're at a Alabama or Mississippi school as good as Cam Coleman was coming out. So there's a relationship there. Does that mean that's a reason that Cam Coleman's going to pick a school? I don't think that's a reason Cam Coleman is going to pick a school. I don't think a quarterback necessarily is the reason Cam Coleman is going to pick a school either. I think this is I don't know which way it's going to go. Look, he's finishes up the Tech visit. Then he's going to go to Alabama. I think all 4 schools are in it until they're not. Officially not. I think that's how competitive a recruitment this is. I don't think anybody's walking away.
And
People thought Alabama was out 3 days into the portal. People are not walking away from this recruitment.
Dro Franco 33. Do y'all think that we need bigger body receivers?
I don't necessarily think so. I think you need maybe 1 or 2, but I think you don't need to sacrifice size for speed and playmaking ability at wide receiver. That to me should take priority over everything else. And if that guy happens to be, 6'2", 210 pounds, then so be it. If he's 5'10", 190, then that's fine. But I want speed and playmaking ability first and foremost.
I want to just something real quick. Somebody in the chat said USC walked away from Cam Coleman. No, Cam Coleman wasn't going to go to USC, so they were told that wasn't happening.
There you go. And then we got a few more here before we wrap it up. Ronnie J got his super chat in. He said, my question is, why did running back Ricky Stewart leave, and why no mention of tight end Will Randall?
I think we'll see if Ricky Stewart jumps back into college football anytime soon, or what his future plans are.
And Will Randall had a really serious injury there. I can't even recall seeing him suit up for practice in the times we've been out there.
Somebody asked if Jermaine Bishop will be a factor next year. I think he'll be a factor on the Texas football team next year. We'll see which position that ultimately ends up being, but I think wide receiver, I think return game. I think Jermaine Bishop's the level player that will have an impact on this team.
And a couple more. Traveling Tyler, I'm happy Gideon is back, but why get rid of Akina after 1 year, or was that a Muschamp decision?
I think that was just a decision where Sark was ready to make over the defense, and I don't think that was a Will Muschamp decision. I think that was a Sark decision. And you're going to let Will Muschamp get whoever he needs to get the passing game, to get the pass defense right.
And then our final one for today comes from Carson. Thank you, Carson Wright. He says, have y'all seen Dano say that Arch would be quarterback 1 in the draft this year without question? And do y'all agree to make sure that Cam Coleman sees that clip?
I almost want to throw a hat in honor of CJ Vogel, because this will be CJ's hat throw question for the foreseeable future. That and if Sark is really getting ready to go to the NFL. So yeah, I saw it. Man, I just wish for a minute that the talking heads and the scream at people shows and the hot take folks just let Arch play quarterback. Thank you, Blake. Just let Arch play quarterback and just stop talking about what's 18 months down the road. Like, you had a really good end of the year. Let's just leave it at that. But I know that's asking too much.
Yeah. I mean, and look, I'm not saying Dan Orlovsky's wrong, but it was never in the plans anyways. There's a look at times did he look like he could be? There were times early in the season where you said no chance. I mean, I think there's always a lot to it, but I think his development is the biggest thing. Be ready to be a pro, not just get drafted high. Be ready to be a really good pro when you go.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football presented by Von Lane. We want to thank Von Lane along with Harry's, Prize Picks, and Mint for sponsoring today's show. Of course, thank you all for tuning in as well. Jerry, what's later today?
We'll be looking for some news on potentially get some guys picking Texas. We'll have a live stream tonight. I believe we'll probably have a portal update. Hell, we may go live this afternoon and take your questions. Blake's not going to host that one. He's done for the day. But we may have a live later this afternoon, too, to give everybody an update and get their questions. Well, that's the thing. The thing we want to continually bring all you guys is the chance to ask questions. And it's hard to get to all of them. We know it. There's tons of super chats as well. On TexasFootball.com, you can come over there and make fun of me, Josie, Blake, Jeff, CJ, Bobby, whoever you want. We have great threads, a lot of fun over there. So come. We'll also answer your questions there. So just come on over on TexasFootball.com and make fun of me all you want. I'm here for it.
There's a good chance Blake or I will be muted, so it might take us a minute to reply. So I'm apologizing in advance. And hey, if you need more portal stuff here on the channel, Rod Babers and I, with the help of producer Matt, dropped a Raleek Brown video a little bit ago. So you want more Raleek Brown analysis, Rod Babers and I have it.
There you go. Yeah, good stuff. And our provider is frozen, so I can't bring the graphic up. But as Jerry said, on TexasFootball.com, running a special $1 for your first month, no code needed, no special link needed. Just head over to ontexasfootball.com.
I want to end with this because Cisco DS said something funny. This is how much fun we're having at ontexasfootball.com. I may or may not be at HEB. Last night I had fun I was at HEB picking up a few things, and I posted the grocery list on our portal thread. We're trying to have a lot of fun with it amongst the chaos.
I've already typed out the Sam Elliott monologue about people not attending the quarterback's birthday party in the thread this morning. So we're off to a pretty good start today.
Yes, at CJ's point, there is a surprise OL visitor on campus. We're working to get more information on that.
And that's a great time to mention, pass that like and subscribe button, ring the bell so you're notified anytime we go live, post content. That way, as soon as it happens, boom, it shows up on your phone, on your device, and you won't miss anything between that and on TexasFootball.com. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow morning. We hope you have a spectacular day today. And for Bobby Burton, Jeff Howe, and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll